Welcome to Crossover Colosseum, the show where only one can win and the fights are chosen by you. My name is Ink, and today we're looking at Sephiroth from Final Fantasy versus Bill Cipher. Huge thanks to the user BN on our Discord server for choosing this match. But anyway, let's start things right off with everyone's favorite merc with mommy issues, Sephiroth. Here's a riddle for you. What speaks Japanese, will kill you, and smells like shampoo? If you said the name of today's fighter, then you are correct. Sephiroth is the super soldier experiment from the Shinra Company, who became convinced that the world would be much more to his liking if it was hit with a giant meteor. Since his debut in Final Fantasy in 1997, Sephiroth has grown to be one of the most feared and powerful villains in all of gaming. But his refinement into something superhuman began before he was even born. When he was still a fetus, he was injected with cells of the alien Genova, with the hopes that it would turn Sephiroth into the savior that the people needed to lead them to a land of unlimited power. Unfortunately for them, Sephiroth had a serious identity crisis and became convinced that Genova was his mother. And while I personally think that the resemblance is uncanny, this fixation on his alien pseudo-mother soon turned him to a life of destruction and lots of fire. He became convinced that the only way to truly live up to his potential was to hit the Earth with a giant meteor and then drink up all of its life source to ascend to godhood. Now, a wise man once said,
"There's only one God, man, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that."
But a soldier as fierce as Sephiroth might challenge that perception for even the most devout. Due to his enhancements from Genova, Sephiroth has a variety of incredible abilities, such as superhuman strength, telepathy, teleportation, levitation, and the ability to manifest a single black angel wing that does something. It's kind of unclear. He has a wide variety of spells that he can cast upon his enemies as well. While most magic users in the Final Fantasy VII universe need the assistance of a substance called materia to use magic, due to all the knowledge that he's gained from dying and falling into the life stream, Sephiroth is able to conjure powerful spells without the need of materia, such as Giga Flare, an intense ball of exploding fire. And Sephiroth has a variety of elemental spells that are all no joke. He has fire, ice, lightning, earthquakes, and he can also control concepts like gravity or time with his magic. But his spells aren't just suited for offense. He can put his targets to sleep, destroy magical and physical shields, reverse stat increases, heal himself, and even teleport out of danger with magic like Exit. Or he could just create his own pocket dimension and hang out there. While in this pocket dimension, Sephiroth can unleash his most deadly attack of all, Supernova. With this infamously long move, Sephiroth summons an attack from outside the solar system, which is powerful enough to obliterate planets. He then slams this attack into the sun, causing it to explode and attack his enemies with the intensity of an exploding solar system. And while it initially seemed that Sephiroth was only capable of using this power in his enhanced Safer Sephiroth form, it's since been confirmed that even in his base form he can access this power. And despite the force of exploding a solar system, this still isn't enough to put Sephiroth down. When he uses this move, he just waits for the explosion to reach him and floats there menacingly. But when Sephiroth isn't exploding stars in your face, he's probably brandishing his favorite weapon of all, the Masamune. This 8-foot-long blade not only gives Sephiroth a distinct advantage in combat, but it also packs a serious swing. Just the shockwaves alone from swinging this blade were enough to slice through this giant cannon from a large distance away. Sephiroth has dealt out some serious destruction with his blade, but he's also been on the receiving end of a sword multiple times. He's been impaled no less than 4 times and has even died 3 of those times. But he just keeps coming back swinging. Sephiroth is also super agile and quick in battle. He's fought some of the fastest characters in his universe without an issue. But the most impressive movement speed he's pulled off is by himself in this scene, where he jumped fast enough to nearly instantly break the sound barrier. What arguably makes Sephiroth the most dangerous though isn't his attack intensity or jumping around at the speed of sound. His whole life, Sephiroth has had a special condition called Final Boss of a Long JRPG-itis, that causes him to be immune to a huge amount of status effects and conditions. These include, but aren't limited to, sleep, poison, confusion, time stops, transmutation, paralysis, mind control, and moves that would otherwise cause instant death. So with a character as incredibly powerful as Sephiroth, how does he ever lose? Much less, lose bad enough that he dies multiple times over, in incredibly similar ways. Sephiroth's own downfall is consistently his hubris. He views himself as a sort of god, with everyone beneath him. This kind of arrogance has caused him to repeatedly underestimate his opponents and get caught off guard by a surprisingly strong blow which finishes him off. But in spite of this fatal flaw, Sephiroth is one of the most formidable foes in all of gaming, and very few people have seen his blade and lived to tell the tale. Now let's check out his opponent, Bill Cipher, to see how he stacks up. If I asked you to close your eyes and picture what you believe an interdimensional demon hellbent on ruling all of reality looks like, chances are you wouldn't picture a floating pyramid in a top hat named Bill. But our second fighter for today, Bill Cipher, is all of those things and more. And he certainly isn't somebody to be underestimated. Trillions of years before the events of Gravity Falls, this triangular demon spent his time living in the second dimension, a world which he described as being full of flat minds and flat dreams. So, as a party animal, Bill decided to liven things up by plunging the entire dimension into chaos and burning it, along with every single person that he's ever known, including his own parents. Eventually, though, Bill found a much more fun place to hang out, a lawless intergalactic pseudo-dimension known as the Nightmare Realm, which looks like an evil lava lamp and smells like burnt hair. Home sweet home. Unfortunately for Bill, this amorphous realm was incredibly unstable and would eventually collapse in on itself unless merged with something a bit more solid and reliable. So Bill moved to a higher dimension, our own third dimension, to bring this fusion of realms into reality, which he dubbed Weirdmageddon. Bill ventured toward the small town of Gravity Falls, Oregon, to partake in one of his favorite pastimes, making deals with humans. Bill manipulated, tricked, and trolled his way to near unlimited power, as any good interdimensional demon should. He can lift giant pyramids in the sky, shoot powerful lasers capable of melting statues, blowing up buildings, or even obliterating small armies of time soldiers and a giant floating time baby who supposedly weighed over 9 trillion tons, making him over 1,000 times more dense than a dwarf star. He can also back up this attack power with incredible speeds as well, such as in this scene where he casually jump scares Dipper at over 400 miles per hour. But despite this overwhelming offensive power, Bill's durability is a bit harder to pin down. Obviously, a dimension-destroying demon is going to be in need of some serious fortitude in order to do what he does. But looking at the series, it seems like Bill's best defensive ability isn't his durability itself, but rather regeneration. His physical form's been damaged by having his eye attacked by this improvised treehouse mech suit. But we also know that Bill's capable of being destroyed by this quantum destabilizer used by Ford in Weirdmageddon Part 1. But like I've said, we've seen Bill come back from just about anything he's been hit with, and his exact power limit is ambiguous. It's likely that not even he knows what it is. While trying to persuade a human to make a deal, he's described himself as being capable of seamlessly destroying entire continents with a single finger while drawing a smiley face, and having the capacity to give people their own galaxies, whatever that means. And that's what's so hard to measure about Bill. This ambiguity is exactly where he prefers to operate. He likes to always have several hidden aces up his sleeves, and nowhere is this more obvious than his magical abilities. Bill can stop time, send his opponents to sleep, teleport himself and others, create powerful illusions, perfectly impersonate others, and distort the orientation of his surrounding areas. Some of his most dangerous abilities, though, come from his powerful transmutations that he uses on his enemies. He's petrified people, turned them to gold, tapestries, and other strange objects, and in one of the most horrifying transmutations of the show, Bill swapped the function of every hole on someone's face. That is hard to look at. Bill Cipher is a truly terrifying opponent, but that might not be immediately obvious from the way that he carries himself. Bill is obsessed with being weird, irreverent, and disturbing to all that he comes in contact with, for the sole purpose of his own enjoyment. He cares for nobody but himself and views the third dimension as his own personal playground. And if you try to stand between Bill and his goals, you can be sure that he will destroy you in the weirdest way possible. But with all that said and done, let's take a look at today's fight between Bill Cipher and Sephiroth to figure out who will come out on top. Let's get into it.
2000ギル分の人間の歯をかかるぞ。俺の呪文はペペロニとかそして宇宙のオラーとママ幻想は面白くない分け合ってあげようと思ったのにこれはマテリアじゃない
Wow, that's cold. Even for me. And nobody likes cold pizza. Hey, you want to see my impression of you dying? Yeah, that's the one.
Tamare.
Wow, chicken wing. How did you go through that 4 times? Really takes a toll on the old liver.
What did you do to my voice?
You're welcome. And now that you're speaking my language, we can finally get down to business. Whoa, wait, hold on. It's really hard to talk with your further away. Oh, would would you cool your jets? I didn't come here to fight. I would have killed you already. Eat chicken wing. I've come to offer you a deal beyond your wildest dreams.
This must be Hojo's latest pet.
Stop ignoring my hospitality.
Enough of this.
Big mistake, chicken wing.
And out comes the chicken wing. But you know, if you're gonna manifest a giant useless limb, you should probably go for something more stylish. I think somebody needs a lesson in presentation. Yahoo! Onward, my army of leaves! He's easily surprised by large swords!
You're testing my patience. Enough of your tricks.
You're too slow! Come on, I was using that one. It wasn't supposed to die until January. Huh?
You don't seem to understand just how insignificant you are. You're a child playing God. It's time to cut you down to size.
Size, huh? Thanks for the tip. Gotta admit, chicken wing, I thought you were just a nice smelling head of hair with mommy issues, but now you're really starting to anger my angles. And since you don't want to do this the fun way, I guess we're gonna have to do it the weird
Your time
way.
has come to burn.
Wait, what the? No, 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 no! I could have offered you everything!
Suffer. Posorera reta mamate.
And there you go. Bill Cipher was an incredibly dangerous opponent, but Sephiroth just had answers for everything that he could throw at him. He resisted most of Bill's most dangerous powers, such as transmutations, time stops, and he could even teleport out of whatever dark dimension that Bill tried to trap him into. Sephiroth is also much faster and more durable than Bill, especially when accounting for his ability to slow down his opponents, shield himself, and heal himself. Bill is commonly perceived as an all-powerful, omnipresent god who's capable of breaking the fourth wall into our dimension and even destroying all of reality as we know it. Which, by the way, I think coming from the second dimension actually makes him a lower dimensional being rather than a higher dimensional being, but that's neither here nor there. And while it is clear that Bill is powerful, he also clearly has limits on that power. He can be temporarily damaged by things much slower and weaker than Sephiroth. Even if we took Bill at his word for his self-described ability to bite planets in half as an accurate portrayal of his strength, he still just doesn't stand a chance against Supernova. With this attack, Sephiroth is outputting an intensity of 33.49 zetawatts per centimeter squared. That's over 19,000 times the energy that the sun provides to our entire planet, put across every square centimeter of your body, which, for reference, is about the size of a thumbtack. And Supernova aside, even a casual slice at Bill from the Masamune would be outputting 373 megawatts per centimeter squared, which is like hitting Bill with half the power of a nuclear reactor channeled into a sword across every square centimeter of his body. This is way more than what we've seen capable of damaging Bill before, and it would likely be enough power to match similar levels of output as the Quantum Destabilizer gun. In the end, Sephiroth was just faster, stronger, and more durable than anything that Bill has ever demonstrated. And he could also withstand or completely negate Bill's most dangerous magical abilities. So when all is said and done, Sephiroth is the winner of this round of Super Smackdown.